Adult children of helicopter parents, how do you deal with them now? Hold on, let me go ask my mom. Buddy, it's been 3 hours, you still good? I think he dead. No, mommy just took his internet. Therese Pito's there. Not to mention that hacker named 4chan. Unfortunately, the helicopter behavior continued after I got married and had children. Eventually, the only way to gain control was to go no contact. Edit, fundamentally it boiled down to a complete lack of respect for boundaries. My happiness, marriage, and ability to be a good parent were all suffering because my mother was still trying to control my life. We tried setting up boundaries, but that only escalated things. I would have gladly gone to family counseling if she agreed, but it was far easier for her to complain to her friends that her children don't speak to her. Yes, my brother cut her off too. I strongly recommend the following books: Stop Walking on Eggshells, by Paul Mason, and Boundaries, by Henry Cloud. I also very strongly recommend counseling. Yikes. What do I do now? Continue to disconnect until it resolves itself. This sounds like internet protocols. n.wikipedia.org Wiki exponential back off. LMFAO, all 4 of you are my heroes today. I am low contact. A lot of us go low or no contact. My older brother and I both moved out as soon as we turned 18. He moved to the opposite side of the country, I moved 3 states away. He still keeps low contact and is still on the East Coast. I came back home when I became homeless at 25 and noticed that while we were gone my mother, the helicopter, had done a lot of soul searching and realized that her controlling nature pushed her kids away. She's been in Codependence Anonymous for almost 8 years now, and I'm happy to say for the first time in my life I enjoy spending time with my mom. Took a bit, but I was able to transition out of low contact. Well, my mother flew a Eurocopter as-350 and did paid tours of New York City, New York. My father flew a Bell 1 Iroquois during a deployment to Afghanistan. My father is a retired veteran running his own bait and tackle shop, and my mom still does occasional tours from their house in upstate New York. They are both lovely and I adore them dearly. Thanks for asking. Well, not the answer I was expecting, but you answered my question. It was a nice sense of relief to get out of the house. To put it into perspective, here's some of the stuff that was common in my house. 8:30 bedtime, no shooting games allowed. I could only ever play Minecraft with my friends, could not close doors other than bathroom, could not lock bathroom doors, could not spend your own money without parents' approval first, could not play on computer unless they were home. Obviously this rule got broken a lot. No social media at all. The one that got me the most though was until high school we could only have sleepovers at our house and could not go to most birthday parties. Getting out of the house to stay with someone else for a little was an absolute godsend. I love being independent and stupid with my money and being able to play whatever games I want when I want. So yeah, that's kinda what it's like. The way that I got my mom to chill out on me was to tell her that I wanted to go to a college out of state. That was the moment she realized she wasn't going to be protective of me forever, and it took her a long time to accept it. As of now, she's been a little easier on me, though she still sometimes treats me like a child. If I'm out of state, then I just limit contact with her and don't call home often. I think a lack of contact is the best everyone with helicopter parents can do initially, because it's just so refreshing to be by yourself with nobody breathing on your neck after so long. Limiting contact with my mother worked for me as well. When I was in middle school, my friends asked if I wanted to join them, but I had to stay home because of her migraine, etc., etc., etc. Because my parents are divorced, I moved to my father, then later moved about town. Somewhat cutting contact made her worry, and she stays on the phone for hours if I don't stop her when we talk, but it did get a lot better. Edit, she did, and still does suffer from migraines. However, in retrospect it was always migraines when I asked to leave to go with friends. It's the greatest relief you can feel as a helicopter child. Those long phone calls do drain your energy for sure. My brother and I had no free time allowed growing up, just music and homework allowed. Age 30 plus, my dad has passed away now. He was never the problem, but my mom still does her best to control our lives, inserting herself into situations she doesn't belong, and passive-aggressively putting us in situations that she wants to happen. But cutting her off or telling her she's overstepping makes us the bad ones in her mind. Edited for clarity, so minimal contact and details are all that's on the menu for her from me now. My brother doesn't get it though, giving her minute details and then getting annoyed when she thinks she can have a say in how he lives his life. My parents weren't that bad, but they were quite overprotective. After I turned 21, I still wasn't allowed out after dark and all that jazz. Had to let them know where I was going and who I was seeing in case I was murdered. What I did was move to another continent. I talk to them every couple of weeks over WhatsApp voice chat. They try and tell me what to do sometimes and I'm just like okay and don't do it. Edit, I'm white British and moved to the US when I was 24. Edit, last I checked in with them, my parents had agreed that my mum is no longer allowed out into the front garden without my dad because of all the blacks moving in, if you want any more context on them. Having an early evening curfew as an adult is pretty bad. Having a curfew of sunset as a 21-year-old is the definition of that bad. Having a curfew as a 21-yo is bad. I ignore them. To be honest, it's also because I'm in a different city and have a hectic job. But there was also a period of slowly getting them used to the fact that they would not know and control every detail of my adult life. My parents weren't. But a friend moved to a different state and got engaged, and my friend's mom still managed to be a helicopter parent. Visiting at least 3 times a month and contacting either her or her so constantly. It ruined the engagement because the so finally had enough, because even though my friend was annoyed with her mom as well, she couldn't cut her mom off completely. I'd call the details, but it must have been super annoying if someone was like I love you, but duck having in-laws like this. She is now single and has moved back home. It's unfortunate. Mission accomplished. That's Apache attack helicopter parenting. They say things, and I just kind go MHMMM like I'm agreeing that I will do those things. But never verbally say I will do those things. I just say no when I'm told to do something or follow a rule. I don't give a reason, even when I'm asked why. It's satisfying. Honestly, me and my husband are trying to figure this out. My mill is a total helicopter parent. If one of us, me, my husband, or his brother, doesn't respond to her messages within an hour or two, she'll bombard the other 2 about where we are if something happened to us. She freaked out on me when I didn't respond to her after 3 hours. We were doing a cross-country drive, and accused me of trying to shut her out and said we're never going to be a real family because of the walls I've built up around myself. I don't know what to do. My husband won't stand up to her as much as I want him to, but I can't do this for the rest of my life. We have to establish some boundaries, but it's not my mom, so I can't be the one to initiate. I had to be extremely mean and blunt with my mom. I'm a mid-30s married man, and had to straight up tell her that I have a family and my own life and she needs to go get a hobby or take classes or anything whatsoever that will give her a sense of value, because I do not need a goddamn interfering invasive mother any longer. When she started giving me either the "that's so horrible you'd talk to your mother that way" or the "oh no my kids don't need me anymore," I literally flat out had to just say I don't give a shit, mom. Go work it out. I had to be super mean to her about it. Sometimes parents have to cut their children off, and sometimes children have to cut their parents off. Doesn't make me feel good, but I sleep fine. Stone cold boundaries and a residence more than 1,000 miles away. Edit, thank you all for my first silvers. Edit 2, and gold. My parents weren't really helicopter parents until I was in high school, and then it was ducking insane. I was in high school about 10 years ago now, but cell phones were the norm, access to social media was pretty regular, etc. My parents responded to one of my not so great moments as a 17-year-old by taking away my phone, only letting me use my computer in the same room as them with the screen facing them at all times, would pick me up and drop me off from school, wouldn't let me visit my friends and would only let approved friends come to my house, installed cameras throughout the house so that when they weren't there they could make sure I wasn't going anywhere, etc. We're actually good now. I think once I went to college and then subsequently dropped out and took a couple years off, they realized the hyper-attentiveness wasn't what I needed and only made me pull away more. Additionally, it probably helped that they saw me go through relatively difficult situations entirely on my own. There's a mutual respect now, ease of communication, and just general comfort I never knew growing up. All that being said, I would never recommend parents of high school children act like mine did. If you want your children to trust you and be honest, you need to show them that you are willing to trust them. Also, my parents were fucking letting me run around alone through the city for most of my youth, and so the sudden dictatorial behavior was super startling and made me rebel more. What the hell did you do to cause all of that? I was dirty texting my boyfriend and my mom took my phone while I was sleeping and read my texts. There's something just wrong about taking someone's phone while they're sleeping. Even if there's nothing wrong on it, it shows little to no respect for privacy. Some parents believe their children have no right to privacy so long as they live under their roof or are under 18 or are still being supported by them. Or they use the "I bought it with my money for you out of the kindness of my heart, therefore it's mine and I can do with it whatever I please whenever I please" logic. I paid for my phone and laptop, in full, something my siblings have never had to do, but my dad used to say that since he pays for the internet and cell phone bill he can take away my phone. Luckily I'm in college now so we don't really talk lol.